In Greece, where Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has apologized for the weakness in his government's response to massive wildfires that have devastated several regions. He promised to compensate all those affected. The worst fire is currently on the island of Evia. Residents there have joined firefighters to contain what the Prime Minister calls a natural disaster of unprecedented proportions.
With all their might, firefighters and volunteers are trying to hold back the flames. Massive forest fires have gripped the Greek island of Evia. One of the helpers is Richard Constantin Alan. This island is his home, but now much of it has been turned to ashes.
Childhood memories are burned right now. I used to run in this forest, I used to cycle, we used to go for and collect fruits. Now everything is gone.
2,000 people have been evacuated from Evia alone. Much of the north of the island has been destroyed. This was the scene from a rescue boat on the shores of Evia. It looked as if the apocalypse had arrived. Greece has been battling devastating wildfires for nearly 2 weeks now. And public anger is growing, with many accusing the state of inaction. Just rage, that is the only thing that I feel. Only you can save yourself and your neighbour. I don't expect anything from any state, from any political party or from any government. Nothing. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered outside Parliament in Athens to protest the government's handling of the wildfires. The Prime Minister has publicly apologised. It is obvious that the climate crisis is now knocking on the door of the whole planet, with fires that last for weeks. This is a cause, but not an excuse or an alibi. The extent of the disaster, especially in Evia and Attica, blackens everyone's hearts. And I'm the first one to apologise for any weaknesses. A decade of austerity has slashed public services, weakening firefighting capabilities. The European Union has promised help and is sending firefighters, aircraft and vehicles. But for now, volunteers like Alan have to pick up the slack.
Well, DW's Barbara Wesel is on the story for us in Athens, and she says last week's fires near the Greek capital diverted precious resources from the island of Evia.
The situation is not much changed. The fires, of course, in certain areas have simply burnt themselves out, but other areas are still burning. With these forest fires in those pine forests here in the Mediterranean, once a certain amount of heat is generated, they are unstoppable, but they simply cannot really be controlled anymore, and they're just burning themselves out. And that is the horrible thing. Evia really has been left alone in the first days when the island started to burn, because all the firefighting effort was concentrated on Athens, because the northern suburbs of Athens, which have where the fires have now been extinguished, were to be protected as a sort of primary thing. And Evia started burning, and now it's over. The island will just burn down. The northern part will simply burn down to the very end.
Barbara Wesel reporting there, and I'm now joined by Professor Christos Tserefos, head of the Research Centre for Atmospheric Physics and Climatology of the Academy of Athens. Professor, Greece experiences wildfires quite regularly, but why are they so strong and spread out so widely this year?
This was due to the extreme climatic conditions that we are facing this year. It hasn't rained since May. So the soil was dry, and the air temperatures are for 2 consecutive weeks passing 40 degrees Celsius centigrade. So the whole scene, together with the fact that there have been dry blocks of wood and abandoned broken wood from a previous passage of a catastrophic little cyclone that struck the area last winter, spring. They were there waiting to be burned. Unfortunately, these set up the scenery for one of the largest disasters in Greece. I would like to point out that before 1987, we had practically no heat waves, at least of such dimension. They were lasting 1 day for 1 day or 2 days. Now, in 1987, we had a 7-day duration heat wave in 2007, and this one, the last one, was the most extended for 2 weeks, and it is still continuing.
So, Professor, you say that it has been foreseeable to a degree. So what could the authorities have done to at least minimize the extent of the catastrophe?
Well, it was a matter of the forestry department that they should collect all the remnants from the past. These pine trees, they leave little pieces everywhere, and they are ready to be burned. But there is one good thing that happened. We had very few casualties, no casualties with this terrible disaster. So this is the only positive thing one can say.
Okay.
The negative thing is that we are already, as we all know, into the destabilization, the period of destabilization of our climate. You saw what happened in Germany, what happened in England. Also in Turkey, they had both floods and huge forest fires, and also in Siberia and in Canada. And the bad thing is that the ice is melting faster than we thought before, and these could have adverse effects or release of viruses or any other thing from the previously ice cap of Siberia.
Professor Christos Zerifos there from the Research Center for Atmospheric Physics in Athens. Thank you very much.
Thank you.